The Pittsburgh Steelers have sent shockwaves through the NFL after a stunning development that few saw coming, as George Pickens officially puts pen to paper in a move that instantly changes the identity, confidence, and physical edge of the team. This signing isn't just another roster update or off-season headline. It's a statement move that signals Pittsburgh's intent to dominate on both sides of the ball and reassert its reputation as one of the most intimidating franchises in football. Pickens' arrival injects swagger, explosiveness, and a competitive fire that has been missing in key moments, and the ripple effects are already being felt across the locker room. Teammates know this changes expectations, opponents are recalculating game plans, and fans are waking up to the reality that the Steelers just leveled up in a major way.
Welcome back to Steelers Daily News, your home for the latest, most important, and fastest breaking updates surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers and the NFL. This channel is dedicated to keeping Steelers fans informed with in-depth coverage, real analysis, and stories that matter, whether it's major signings, locker room shifts, or league-wide reactions to moves like this one. Every day, Steelers Daily News brings you closer to the action and the truth behind the headlines, and today's news around George Pickens is exactly the kind of moment that defines a season before it even begins.
What makes this signing so significant isn't just the name on the contract, it's the timing and the message it sends. The Steelers have been carefully reshaping their roster with a clear vision, focusing on toughness, accountability, and explosive playmaking. George Pickens embodies all three. His presence immediately elevates the intensity of practices, sharpens competition at every position, and forces defenses to respect Pittsburgh's ability to strike at any moment. This isn't a quiet move, it's a loud declaration that the Steelers are done waiting and are ready to push forward aggressively in a league that rewards bold decisions. Inside the organization, the excitement is real. Coaches understand what Pickens brings not just physically, but mentally. His confidence borders on fearless, and that mindset is contagious. When a player like Pickens walks into the building, standards rise, defensive units prepare harder, offensive schemes expand, and the entire roster feels the pressure to match that energy. The Steelers have long been defined by physical dominance and emotional toughness, and this signing reconnects the franchise to that identity in a way that resonates deeply with the fan base. The impact on the Steelers' front seven cannot be overstated. While Pickens is known for his offensive ability, his arrival has reshaped how Pittsburgh approaches game flow and complementary football. By stretching the field, winning contested battles, and forcing defenses to commit extra attention, the Steelers' defense benefits indirectly but powerfully. Opposing offenses are forced into predictable situations when Pittsburgh can score quickly or control momentum, and that's when the front seven thrives. Pass rushers pin their ears back, linebackers attack downhill, and the entire defensive unit feeds off shorter fields and higher confidence. There's also a psychological element at play. Opponents preparing for the Steelers now have to account for a roster that feels more complete, more dangerous, and more unpredictable. Pickens' ability to flip momentum with one play changes how teams approach Pittsburgh from the opening kickoff. That hesitation, even if it's just a split second, gives the Steelers an edge. In a league decided by inches and moments, that edge can be the difference between playoff contention and early offseason reflection. Fans have been quick to react, and the response has been electric. Social media exploded as the news broke, with Steelers Nation celebrating what feels like a turning point. For a fan base that demands excellence and toughness, this move checks every box. Pickens represents confidence without apology, talent without limits, and a hunger to prove himself on the biggest stage. That mentality aligns perfectly with Pittsburgh's blue-collar football culture, and the connection feels natural, almost inevitable. From a league-wide perspective, this signing has not gone unnoticed. Analysts and insiders are already debating how much this changes Pittsburgh's ceiling. The Steelers have always been competitive, but now the conversation shifts from solid to dangerous. Defensive coordinators are losing sleep over how to account for Pickens while still respecting the run game and other receiving threats. That balance creates stress, and stressed defenses make mistakes.
Pittsburgh is positioning itself to capitalize on those mistakes week after week.
In the locker room, leadership dynamics also evolve. Pickens arrives with something to prove, but he also brings an expectation of winning. Veterans recognize that energy, and younger players feed off it. Competition becomes sharper, complacency disappears, and practices take on a playoff-level intensity long before the season begins. That internal pressure is healthy, and historically it's been a defining feature of Steelers teams that make deep postseason runs. This move also reinforces the front office's commitment to building a roster that can win now while still developing for the future. The Steelers are not chasing headlines, they're constructing an identity. Pickens fits into that identity seamlessly. He's a tone setter, a momentum shifter, and a player who thrives when the lights are brightest. Those are the players who define seasons and rewrite narratives. As the dust settles, one thing becomes clear. The Steelers didn't just sign a player, they altered expectations. The front seven looks faster, more confident, and more aggressive because the offense can now apply consistent pressure on opponents. Complementary football is back at the center of Pittsburgh's strategy, and Pickens is a major reason why. His presence allows the Steelers to dictate pace instead of reacting, and that's a dangerous position for any opponent to face. Steelers Daily News will continue to track every development surrounding this signing, from training camp impact to early season performance and league reactions. This is one of those moments fans will look back on and say, that's when everything changed. George Pickens has arrived, the Steelers have made their move, and the rest of the NFL has officially been put on notice. As the season approaches, the anticipation surrounding Pittsburgh continues to build, and George Pickens' signing has become a defining storyline across the league. Every practice rep, every media appearance, and every locker room interaction now carries added weight because expectations have shifted. The Steelers are no longer viewed as a team searching for identity, but as one that has found it and is reinforcing it with purpose. Pickens' competitive edge fuels an environment where accountability is non-negotiable, and that mindset translates directly onto the field. When preparation intensifies, performance follows, and Pittsburgh appears to be entering that phase at exactly the right time. What stands out most is how naturally this move aligns with the Steelers' long-standing philosophy. Pittsburgh has always valued players who play with emotion, toughness, and an unrelenting desire to dominate their matchup. Pickens represents all of that in one package. His presence amplifies the confidence of the entire roster, especially in high-pressure moments where belief can be the deciding factor. Close games, late drives, and momentum-swinging possessions now feel different because the Steelers have a player capable of tilting the field in their favor without hesitation. As the rest of the NFL adjusts, one thing is undeniable. The Steelers have changed the conversation. This isn't about potential anymore, it's about impact. George Pickens' signing marks a clear turning point, one that signals Pittsburgh's readiness to challenge anyone, anywhere. The front seven feeds off the offensive firepower, the offense feeds off defensive dominance, and the team moves forward with a unified sense of purpose. The Steelers are stepping into a new chapter, and the league is watching closely as that chapter begins to unfold.